The 4-mallet etude is called Jonathan's Light and is from Julie Davila's book, Impressions on Wood, published by Roloff Productions. Julie Davila is currently the president of the Percussive Art Society and a member of the WGI Hall of Fame. Overall, this piece really complements the 2-mallet etude due to its graceful nature, legato lines, and flowing melodies. Although the tempos for the all-state process are slightly faster than originally marked, the piece should not feel rushed, as this takes away from the overall gentleness style of the piece. With this etude, in every piece of music you play, focus on getting great sounds by working on your technique and approach to the instrument to create fluid motions, and again, avoid harsh strokes. Stopping the mallets immediately after striking the instrument can create staccato sounds, which is not what this piece specifically requires. Use your ears to listen for the correct sound, as this is one of the most important aspects about this etude and all solo literature you perform. Since this piece has the most expressive nature of all 4 etudes this year, I chose a medium soft mallet that allowed me to bring out the legato lines, but that also can play a wide dynamic range that's required in this etude. For this piece, I chose the Ludwig Albert series from Innovative Percussion with the 3105s and mallets 2, 3, and 4, and then one softer, the 3104 in mallet 1 position. So body positioning is really important for this etude. The piece uses the accidentals and the naturals simultaneously throughout, and at times can create some difficult hand positions unless you understand how to move your body and your feet to alleviate some of these issues. You don't want to contort your hands in awkward positions because, again, that's going to create bad sounds. Work out your feet placement and body positions so the hand technique and stroke type doesn't suffer. When playing the F minor chord and that E flat inversion chord in measures 1 and 2 respectively, move your feet and hips to the right. This allows for that left hand to be more parallel with the forearm and not bent backwards like this. The vertical motion of the mallets should stay fluid, so you can use your body position and feet placement to help maintain that consistent stroke type and technique in your hands that allow you to play with full and rich sounds. For stickings, in 4-mallet literature, many composers, Julie Davila does this as well, they write in sticking suggestions for some difficult sections. This can be very helpful, but understand that you aren't required to play these stickings. I recommend experimenting with the written suggestions, but then trying some other options as well. In this piece, there are several options for some of these more difficult, harder passages. Once you figure out your sticking, for all keyboard music that you play, snare drum and timpani even, mark the stickings in your music. This will ensure consistency between your practice sessions. When I look at the stickings that are written in, I look at that, I try that first, but then, you know what? I actually try several different options. I ended up trying about 4 to 5 different patterns for measure 8, as well as the section right there from 29 to 31. For the repeating pattern starting in measure 8, you will notice in the performance video that I use 2 double lateral strokes and bring the left hand up onto beat 3. This allows me to stay fluid and get a very clear, even 16th note rhythm. It also helps me to set up to play the lower note in measure 9 with mallet 1 as I move down the line with those 16ths. That allows me to comfortably lead back into those double lateral stroke types. I suggest practicing this section without the double lateral motion so you feel where your hand should move, so play it with double verticals first. Let me show you a couple different things about this section. So when I play those double laterals, then I'm allowed to bring mallet 2 up to that G. Then after that, I play with mallet 1 and then mallet 3. As you notice, that sets my hands up for that double lateral motion right after that. In measures 29 and 30, I actually don't use the recommended stickings that Julie puts in the book. I didn't want to play double laterals between the naturals and the accidentals, and I also wanted to avoid having to play any triple laterals. So I changed the sticking in measure 31 also to interlocking single alternating strokes, which allowed the transition into the repeat to move much more smoothly so I could control the diminuendo. So let me just show you that real quick. So generally, my sticking choices always lead me somewhere in a natural and comfortable motion. So the four mallet fundamentals, all four of the main four mallet fundamentals are used in this piece. The single independent stroke is when one mallet plays independently of all the others. That happens in the first 4 bars or so. I'll demonstrate that real quick. So that right hand plays those single independent strokes. The double vertical stroke is when 2 mallets play exactly at the same time in that same hand. In measure 24, you're going to play a lot of double verticals. So you want to try to make sure all 4 notes play at exactly the same time. I mentioned the double lateral stroke. That utilizes one forearm motion and then a forearm rotation to get 2 notes played right after one another. It's the double lateral stroke. And then single alternating strokes. I just mentioned that as well. That's when one hand alternates between the 2 mallets, usually at a little bit slower tempo. And this is a great moment in measure 31 where I've chosen to use interlocking single alternating strokes. That allows me to move fluidly around the instrument. So I highly recommend labeling these stroke types in your music, and then developing your technique and building your chops to have complete control of these fundamentals. There are times in this etude where these fundamentals are isolated, while other times you play 2 different stroke types at the same time. For combination strokes, a great practice method is to play one hand at a time, isolate them, and then put them together. For example, in measures 1 through 5, you play double vertical strokes in the left hand, single independent strokes with the right hand, all at the same time. Isolate those hands and then combine them. Find some other instances in this piece where you use these combination strokes and use this practice method for those sections as well. It's a great piece that works so many different things with your hands and then around the instrument. Always focus on the sound quality. Think about the melody, allowing that balance to come out. But again, think about your stroke types, develop your chops, and have just a great time with this really wonderful etude by Julie Davila. Thanks.